creative friends, this is Sreya and thank you so much for being here. So before I dive into the video, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this particular book because I do think that it is a great book and I'm not trying to push this book on anyone or anything like that. Well, besides the fact that I really love her work, Elena Hennessy, I love her work, I love her spirit. I've been following her for years. I have other books that she has written and published. I think there's like 3, if I'm not mistaken, more books that came after this, but I really love this book because it is so inspiring and it's not really complicated. So, it's not like a big thing where I have to go, oh my God, like I have to go and buy all these materials, or I have to put so much energy and, brain power into figuring out how to do these exercises. They are very, very doable. Let me just move this off to let me just kind of put that over there and move this out of the way here. And another thing about the book that I really love is she talks briefly about, and just look at that, you guys, just look at this, like look at that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the abstractness of it. I just love it, you guys. But anyways, she talks about tools and materials, and she also talks about the color wheel just a little bit. So I think it's a really helpful book, not only for the exercises or projects, but I think it just gives you a brief overview of the elements of art. And also it was, I think, a class that I took with her where I learned about Posca markers because she uses them in her art all the time and she raved about them. And now this was like 10 years ago, you guys. And I started using Posca markers and they really are just amazing. I love them. But yeah, so I think this is like such a good book. And it just gives you like a very, obviously, there's 2 pages on color theory. So obviously, color theory cannot be distilled into 2 pages. There are books that are written on color theory. There are artists that spend their entire lives, you guys, their entire lives just devoted to color theory, exploring different color palettes, whatever, or specific color palettes. So, obviously you cannot distill color theory into 2 pages, but it gives you just a very concise, easy to grab onto kind of overview of color theory that can really be helpful. Because what I find is, I do have a few books on color theory, which are, and I talked about it in another video, which are so intense, you guys, like a whole freaking book on color theory, and it can kind of scramble up your brain a little bit or a lot. I actually took a few classes many years ago just on color, and honestly, you guys, it really did scramble up my brain because if you get well, I don't know about everybody, but I know for me, if I get too much information, and color theory is not an exact science, it just is not. It just isn't. You can learn everything about color theory that you possibly can. You can get a PhD in color theory, okay, so to speak. And then you can look at something and be like, oh my God, those 2 colors should not go together. Everything I've ever learned says they should not go together, but they go together and they just sing and they just make the painting pop off the walls. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's not like a 1 + 1 = 2 type of thing. And actually I have a book where and I talked about this, so I don't want to go into detail about this, but the guy, pretty much his supposition for the entire book is that everything you have ever learned about color theory is absolutely wrong. And then he uses the book to prove why that is true. And yeah, so imagine learning all you can about color theory, and then this guy publishes a book that says, well, everything you've learned for the past, I don't know, however many years is all wrong. So anyways, I'm sorry I got off topic there, but what I'm trying to say is that this is a very easy to grasp, bite-sized overview on color theory that you know, that can really be helpful, because if I get too much information, it scrambles up my brain. And I'm sure a lot of us are like that. But look at this, you guys, like just some, oh, like look at this. Like I just love this. Like you wouldn't think like all these like patterns and colors and whatever would go together, but they do. And I love it. Now, I don't think I could do something like that, honestly. It just seems quite complicated to me. Like I don't think I could do it with, you know, with ease. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna try to look for my okay, my black magic. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to read what she says, like her, you know, prompt, and then I'm gonna do it. Okay, so this one is called Black Magic. Using black as a predominant or unifying color can create a strong contrast. The feeling conveyed in a mostly black on white painting might have more of a nostalgic or simplified narrative than one that features lots of bold colors. Colorful paintings tend to offer a more literal interpretation of reality. These works were made excuse me, using India ink and acrylics on aquaboard. Using a touch of color in a black, white, and gray theme can create a strong focus on that color. So I really love these, you guys. Like I really love this one here especially. So I'm gonna try to kind of, you know, do my own kind of version of this. I love it. And I know many years ago when I first started using black, like I got really overwhelmed, because black is so powerful and it is so like overwhelming. It can take over a painting, and I didn't use black. But then I started like looking at some of my favorite artists, like say Van Gogh or Egon Schiele or you know, Klee, Cézanne. Like a lot of the art that I'm really attracted to, if I really had to take it apart, there's a lot of black in it, or you know, black adjacent. Because you know, when you learn color theory, you learn that there's really not a color called black per se. You know, like even a Prussian blue can read as black. So anyways, moving along from that. But what I want to say is that, you know, if you are feeling overwhelmed about using black, I totally understand, because I used to be the same way. But the more I used it, the more I realized like it is really magic. It's a magic in a bottle. And I have black gesso, and I actually call it magic in a bottle, because it's just kind of amazing, the stuff it can do. So anyways, I'm just gonna kind of do like you know, let's see here. So I'm doing like my version of her project. Oh, you guys, I wanted to also talk about a couple of more things here. While I'm drawing, I'll try to see if I can talk about it. But I was asked what I used to put, you know, to adhere my collage or whatever onto the page. And what I use is Mod Podge, but it's the matte, you guys. Matte, 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 matte. And what happened is, and I've talked about this before, about 10 years ago, my pages stuck together, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like when your pages stick together, like you just have to throw it away. Like you cannot unstick it. You cannot, like I tried to cut it apart. I tried to see if I could salvage some of the pages for collage. Like I was crying, you guys, like literally. Like I was so heartbroken, and I was literally crying, because I mean, you know, you spend all that time, all your, you know, everything, your heart, your soul, whatever, you put it into your art journal, and now your pages are stuck together and you really can't do anything about it but throw it away. Yeah, but what it did is it forced me to research how I can keep my pages from sticking together. And what I came across is a lot of people said that if you use matte rather than gloss, the matte prevents sticking. Now, I just want to say another thing is that around the same time, I started painting furniture with chalk paint. And so I had some extra chalk paint that I just happened to have from my leftover painting furniture projects. And I said, oh, let me just use it in my art journal. And what I found is that a combination of the matte glue, whatever kind of glue you're using, and chalk paint is the perfect like magic, you know, potion for me, because the chalk paint is like, it's chalky, so it has stopped my pages from sticking. And I don't know, you know, if that had anything to do with it, but I mix this chalk, and I love chalk paint actually, but I do mix the chalk paint with all of my other acrylic paints. It's mixed media, it's water-based, you can mix it, it's, you know, it's a really good ground. So I recommend matte glue and chalk paint. And this is Waverly, you guys, and you can just pick it up in the craft section of Walmart. Okay, so another thing is that somebody asked me, like, how did I get this, like, really kind of juicy, like, watercolory kind of situation going here? And this is Italian paint, you guys. It's acrylic Italian paint. Actually, not even very expensive paint, honestly. But what I did is I just, like, overwhelmed my brush with water. So I just watered it down a lot. And another thing you can do is you can, you know, put your paint down, and then you can just take a brush, load it up with water, and then start picking up some of the paint, and that way you'll get that watery look as well. So let me just like draw kind of a, you know, just like a very kind of a zen kind of a feeling here. I'm not going to get too complicated. And I don't want that to touch. So a long time ago, you guys, I took a composition class, and basically the rule is that you know, obviously rules are meant to be broken, so, you know, take this as you will, but basically you don't want your objects to touch. You want them to overlap, or, you know, generally you either want them spaced apart or overlapping, but you don't want them to touch each other. That's just not considered to be a good composition. Now, of course, the masters, they all, you know, kind of do their own thing and whatever, but okay. So, like, I'm going to show you here. So basically, she uses her background is white, or a gray, a very light gray, I should say. It's not white, and this is, you know, different shades of gray. So I don't know if I want to copy that exactly, but I think I might actually. Yeah, I think I will, just for the purposes of this video. I think I'm gonna. Okay. So do you see how, like, I'm kind of like, I'm loading my brush with water, so it's kind of like making everything really watery. So it's not so much about the paint that you're using, but how you're applying it. So if you load your brush with water and okay, just load your brush with water here. Okay. And what I am going to do is I'm going to use this Waverly chalk paint here. It's called Cashew, but it's not white. It's got a very yellow undertone to it, so it's like a warm color, which I really love actually. But one of the things about chalk paint, you guys, is besides the that I do firmly believe that it helps my pages from, like, it stops my pages from sticking, is that it's a really amazing ground once it dries. Is if you want to make patterns on there, or write words, or whatever you're gonna do on top of chalk paint, it's a great ground. It really, really takes very well. I'll do another video, sorry, on chalk paint. Like, it really is amazing. And this is just like this Waverly chalk paint. You can go to Walmart, go to the craft section. It comes in 3 sizes. It comes in different colors. I only use it in basically 2 colors, which is the ink, which is like a Payne's gray, very almost black. And I also use it in the Cashew, which is the one I'm using right now. But it comes in other colors. and it comes in 3 sizes. So you can get the small size. It's a really small bottle like that if you just want to try it out, and it's like under $2, I want to say. And then this size over here is 8 full ounces, and it's I want to say like $8. And then it comes in a bigger size as well, which is how much is a bigger bottle? It's about $15, and it you know, I use it a lot and it lasts me forever. Ooh, like I like what happened over here, you guys. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Can you see like how it just kind of splooshed into the sun? I love that. Ooh, I love that. That's like a happy little accident right there. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make like a gray thing, you know, like for the leaves, I guess. And I really love this, you guys. It's very zen. Now, obviously, once it dries, I am gonna come in here and, you know, just use my Stabilo maybe, or like a marker, and just kind of like make some outlines. I'm not gonna do it now. I probably want to make it a little bit darker here. But there are other ways, you guys, and like I said, you know, the best way to really kind of get the most out of these exercises is to do thumbnails of them. So do like lots and lots of, like, you know, say do 30 thumbnails of using black, and just figure out all the different ways you can use the black. You know, now this looks a bit messy, you guys, honestly, because I need it to dry, and I need to come in here and like, you know, like tighten it up with my, would say, a marker or something. But I am really loving the zen quality of it. Okay. Okay, you guys, it's not as pretty as Alana Hennessey's. It's really not. It's a little bit more kind of, I don't know. I gotta wait until it dries, and then I gotta kind of tighten it up a little bit. But I'm really kind of liking that zen look, and I can totally see me doing something like this in like an art journal spread. So anyways, you guys, if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.